You're listening to the World's Team Podcast. It's not just America's team, Cowboys Nation. It's the world's team. Now, here are your hosts, Paul Stewart and Mike Poland.
How about them Cowboys?
What's up, Cowboys Nation? You are listening to the World's Team Podcast on the Believe Network, sponsored by Cowboys Experience for the ultimate meet and greets, tailgating experiences, game tickets, and so much more. Please go to www.cowboysexperience.com and use the discount code World'sTeam2025. I am Paul Stewart, your host, and I have my co-host here, Mr. Mike Poland. And my goodness, folks, the silence is over. The Cowboys have just traded for George Pickens. After weeks of speculation, then a week of nothing, the front office drops a bomb. This isn't just a splash. This is a tidal wave. We're going to be breaking down everything, what Dallas has given up, how Pickens fits, and what this tells us about the Cowboys' mindset going into this season. But first things first, Mate, what is your reaction to the George Pickens trade?
It's kind of ironic that this happens the day after we go into lengthy detail with Brian Broaddus on the wide receiver 2 position.
Yeah, so, talking about Jonathan Mingo in particular.
Yeah, Jonathan Mingo, Devontae Turpin. We're all going, yeah. And they go, nope, wait. We are going to do the Pickens thing. It's been ushered for a while. You know, the whispers have been in and out, and we kind of like going, are they, aren't they? Then it was Amari Cooper. It was just, are they, aren't they? And, you know, there's been a string of different, you know, Keenan Allen was another name. But Pickens, interesting. He's not a bad player. I would say that.
I mean, I love the trade. I love the fact we've now got ourselves a good solidified number 2 wide receiver now. Me personally, like, obviously people are kind of questioning about Pickens in terms of his attitude when he was in Pittsburgh. I get it, but you cannot deny the guy's talent. But when you look of what he's had to deal with in Pittsburgh, the unsure quarterbacks, Mason Rudolph, Russell Wilson, etc., like, for him to like just get under 1,000 yards and only 3 touchdowns with that is still quite of an achievement. Now he's coming over to Dallas with Dak, with CeeDee Lamb as on the other side of the football field. Man, this changes our offense substantially, Mike.
Definitely. One of the issues, me and you both have this same problem, is that, and we've seen it last year, CeeDee Lamb falls out of the game, either injury or like he did in the playoff game where his head isn't in the right place. When that happens, because the Cowboys have a nice pool. It is a nice pool of wide receivers, but they're wide receiver 3s and 4s at best, right? And that's not being nasty. That is what they are. Yeah. But there was nobody on the team coming in this year where you go, if we lose CeeDee Lamb for a week, a quarter, a half.
Yeah, like 4 weeks, for example. Let's use 4 weeks.
That would be worst case scenario. I mean, worst case would be the season, but let's not even entertain that idea.
No.
But yeah, like for multiple...
That doesn't happen.
Yeah, but, you know, multiple weeks, several weeks without CeeDee Lamb, you're going, well, what's the plan? Well, who's Dak throwing to? We can't keep asking Devontae Turpin to come on jet sweeps or on bubble screens, you know, for an entire game. That, like, what's the plan? At least with Pickens, you go, oh, there's a level of comfort there. You kind of go,
100%.
That feels a little softer.
Yeah, and I'm just not long speaking to one of my closest friends, Gavin, who is a lifelong Steelers fan, and he is mad, Mike. He is mad the fact that Pickens is now at Dallas. Not so much Pickens going to Dallas, just the fact that he's gone.
Another player, yeah.
Like Steelers are like they're in disarray right now. They've literally got no quarterback right now. All they've got is Mason Rudolph, and what in terms of the wide receiver core, non-existent. So
Look at the
yeah,
wide receivers they've had in the recent past, Paul, right? You
I
go through the list.
know.
Martavius Bryant, traded. Antonio Brown, traded.
Chase Claypool.
Clay Chapel, traded. All these solid wide receivers, they explode on the scene with Pittsburgh, and then all of a sudden they go, and you're like, oh, wow, what's going on?
It's like emptying the well dry with these wide receivers in Pittsburgh. It really is.
Yeah.
But by means, I am happy the fact that we brought him on board. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, and I will mention it. Our good friend Voch Lombardi made a really good tweet. It's like people might complain about is a like difference making in terms of being a locker room guy. It's like, but sometimes you need that little bit more talent to like feed off from the leadership. So, and I think that's the thing in Pittsburgh. There was no actual leaders in Pittsburgh to like put Pickens where he's supposed to be at in that regard. So, I'm like from that type of point of view, I'm good with it. Like if Pickens can come in, ball out along with CeeDee Lamb, and now you've got this dynamic kind of not random, that dynamic tandem with the running backs, with the lightning and thunder, in a way with Blue, Maffa, Williams, Sanders. I mean, this changes our offense substantially. Like this is a massive boost for the Cowboys right now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, 100%. You know, you talk about the locker room. I think the Cowboys have a strong enough locker room, especially with the pieces they added in the draft as well. When you look at the leadership type players they brought in, strengthens the locker room a little bit tighter. So a guy like Pickens, who we know has locker, we've heard the stories. We've all heard it. And one of the biggest negatives on him is he's not a team player, locker room guy, yada, yada, yada.
That will change. That will certainly change, especially with the people. Yeah.
Yeah, I think in this type of locker room, in this environment, that changes.
And with what Schottenheimer said at his press conference during rookie minicamp, like he's willing to, he's reorganizing certain players that sit beside each other, like Micah Parsons with Dak Prescott. He's changing the culture of this football team to have the team leaders all together to lead by example.
Yeah.
Like we've not even played a snap of football in preseason yet, and I'm buzzing, mate. I am absolutely buzzing of the prospect of what's been happening. Like again, I know Brian Schottenheimer is a first-time head coach, etc. But from what we've done in free agency, and the draft, and now post-draft, and with the coaching hires that we've done, it's gotten me like revitalized and excited to see what we are capable of.
It's kind of funny how, like, can you remember when we were going through the head coaching cycle and we were like going, oh, who's it going to be? And then we are thinking, it's going to be this guy. And
it's going to be Dion or something like that.
Yeah. Go Dion. And we're like, could we pull Bill Belichick back through? I've been looking at Bill Belichick's interviews, mind you. I'm like, whoo, dodged a bullet on that one. But we're not going to go there. But all of a sudden, when you look at the way that they've operated through free agency, like you say, they have a very solid draft where, you know, we've said it on this show, where if they can just get this draft right, which I would say they have, they're in with a chance. But then they go and make these other moves. Like they've done now, and you go, there's something very, very different here. I honestly believe some people will say, you know, Jerry, he will allow the coaches, the choices that they want to make. You know, he'd be like, yeah, sure. But I also think some of this is Jerry's ego, where there was so much doubt in his choice of going, we waited all this time for a new head coach and you just chose Schottenheimer. Like, great. It felt so flat and so flaccid that Jerry, I think Jerry's got an ego of going, you want to call me out on my choices? Wait until you see what Schottenheimer can do. I know I'm right. Watch because when I'm right, I'm right. And he goes out and does stuff like this.
Yeah. I mean, I saw a tweet the other day, earlier today, sorry. And I think it was actually our friend Jay took a post that was like, if I was Mike McCarthy, I'd be raging.
You would. Yeah.
Like it's like, why did I not get this when I was the head coach?
No.
Like, because it was basically more or less hanging up to dry, essentially, when you think about it. But yes, folks, as we kind of mentioned, George Pickens is now a Dallas Cowboy. We traded to give the Pittsburgh Steelers a 3rd rounder and a 6th rounder in exchange for George Pickens and a 7th rounder for next year. So, but yeah, Mike, what is your thoughts about the actual trade value? Does it make sense? Do you think we overcompensated? Do you think we actually got an absolute steal in terms of like when you think about the aspects of contract length, etc.? What do you think?
I mean, it's essentially a 1 year rental is what we've got.
Yeah.
They have to decide then next season what they want to do, if they want to continue. You know, I mean, Brandon Cooks is an example of that, you know, where they'll go on.
Well, let's be fair, Brian Cooks wasn't a 1 year rental. Like
No. But I'm saying like it's a short contract. It's just because of the length of their contract it carries with them, and then they can decide what they want to do, where they go from there. I mean, like when you look at the stats, and like you'll say, we can say stuff like, "Well, last year he only scored 3 touchdowns." The issue is you've got to look at the Pittsburgh offense.
Yeah, this is our point. Like, and we talked about this before we started recording, Mike. It's like, look who's been thrown to George Pickens. Look at the state of their offensive line. Just generally look at the state of their offense.
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest, it's actually remarkable the fact that George Pickens just is shy of 1,000 yards and got 3 touchdowns, despite how bad the Pittsburgh Steelers offense has been.
Yeah, I mean, the offense itself has done, certainly the wide receivers hasn't done them any justice. I mean, you know, we could talk. I've put a post out, which is ironic that. So I mean, well, let's start with this one first. Is that my favorite one? Is that since 2023. And bearing in mind, we're talking of the Pittsburgh offense here, right? That George Pickens leads the NFL in yards per reception.
Yeah, is it not 16.7 yards or something in that region? Like,
yeah, no, it is. Yeah,
yeah. So
more than Justin Jefferson, Nico Collins, and DK Metcalf.
Hey, I would take that in a heartbeat. I really would, because that's one thing we have been struggling is getting those average yards per reception.
Yeah. And you know, we talk about physicality, red zone, you know, shortened fields, 3rd down. George Pickens, that's where he operates. And I think it's a smart move. You're leveling that with CeeDee Lamb. It's unfortunate in what's going to happen with the guys like Jalen Tolbert, Jonathan Mingo, don't know. Kevontae Turpin, I don't think this affects him very much because
no,
Turpin's role is
solidified. I think Turpin is definitely our gadget utility wide receiver. We can play him at certain like offensive plays that works well. We can play him in the slot. We could even play him up wide or whatever or not, but you can use them in like jet, like you mentioned earlier, jet sweeps, etc. So screen passes. Like we can do a lot with Turpin, and he's quite valuable in it. And also special teams. He's our guy for special teams, so he's not going away. But no. I totally agree with you in terms of Jalen Tolbert. Like I believe, like
what's
he's going.
Happen there?
Yeah, it's definitely throwing a spanner in the works in terms of that. Now, this could be the question. Could Jalen Tolbert now be a casualty for the Cowboys in terms of the cuts? Like, we do need to ask that question now because this was not on our radar. Like, because obviously before the trade happened, we thought the trade was just a rumor. We all did because we heard the rumblings of Dallas negotiating with Pittsburgh, blah, 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 just like right before the draft. then after the draft happened, it completely died down. And out of nowhere, and it was like the late hours this morning, like here in the UK, we started hearing all the signals, and roughly about in the afternoon, lunchtime, back here in the United Kingdom, my phone went nuts. I started getting notifications saying Cowboys have just acquired George Pickens in a trade. I'm like, and I'm in my day job with all my colleagues, and it was like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" I'm like, "You guys just won't understand what just happened, but I am freaking out right now." So, but I did not expect this again. Like, just kind of like what we did not expect the Donovan Izaraku pick. Like, it's been a lot of nice surprises in this offseason. It really has.
Yeah. And what essentially, so Pickens is definitely what your outside receiver on the opposite side, right?
100%.
Yeah. I mean, like, when you stop and you go, I mean, like, you could use Turpin, I think, in the slot, definitely. You've got Jalen Cropper still, if you remember him. He's a great slot receiver. He just hasn't been able to crack the roster enough.
Unfortunately, mate, I kind of feel like Cropper's more the Dennis Houston type of thing reference.
It could
like
be.
great camp body, but we just not managed to really
It
see
could be.
it's one of those ones, I think. But who knows? We could be wrong.
Yeah, but what I'm thinking is I'm thinking of options of your two outside wide receivers in the slot. If CeeDee Lamb is best with slot, then it's going to be your two outside receivers. So then you look at that battle, and that battle right there, bearing in mind they still have Paris Campbell on this roster that they went out and got. Yeah, so there's a battle there. You've got Paris Campbell versus Jonathan Mingo versus Jalen Tolbert versus Jalen Brooks, who we've still got, by the way, followed by Ryan Flournoy, which they are still desperate to try and figure out.
Yeah, I'll tell you what,
That's the battle there. That other side. Pickens is safe. CeeDee Lamb safe. It's this. So if what I'm saying is, like, if we were to play CeeDee Lamb from the slot, who's going to be your two starting outside wide receivers? One we know of. The other one.
And this is the thing, though, mate. I am now conflicted in a positive way.
Yeah. It's good. It's good to have this battle.
Yeah. I was more excited for the defensive battles in terms of the D-line. I was very excited in terms of the O-line battles of the acquisitions we brought in there. Now we've got wide receiver to think about.
That like third wide receiver spot is just
it's a big question mark now. Now the fact that we brought in George Pickens and he's like, and this is the thing I like the most. It's like it's this pass catching ability. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, I saw some video clips of George Pickens during training camp with the Steelers, and my goodness, like, I'm not going to use, like, I wouldn't say he's like Odell Beckham in terms of doing those impossible catches, but by God, he can do it. He can do those one-handed catches in is really obscured way where the body is not supposed to bend like that. It's not even possible. So we've now got that as our wide receiver number 2, or could be wide receiver number 1 in terms of if Lamb is out, like Touchwood is not available. But you get what I mean, though. Like I am just really happy with the Jones family right now. Like, they have really got me buzzing for this upcoming season, right? Like, we're like training camp's still a bit away, and there could be still other deals that could be done. But again, going back, like, off season from the get-go, made some great coaching hires. We made some really good acquisitions there. Conor Riley, offensive line coach, Clayton Adams, our new OC, Matt Elbafus coming back to be our DC. Like, really happy with that. I like the foundation we set there. When you look at the players we brought in free agency, good depth pieces. Solomon Thomas, Elam, etc. Like
Yeah,
in terms of
okay, yeah, I'm with you.
now when we go to the draft, we're rebasing our foundations by getting like Tyler Booker, getting Izaraku, getting an absolute stud and Savon Ravel, hoping, and I'm crossing my fingers he will be 100%. And obviously we spoke to Brian Broaddus yesterday.
He sounds positive.
He sounds really positive about that. And then you've got our new tandem of running backs along with the free agents that we brought in as well. So it is like, this is a whole new culture shift for the Dallas Cowboys in all the positive ways. Like, I can't really think of a negative now. Like, obviously the negative was we didn't draft the wide receiver, but we went through back and forth. It's like, after that second round, was there any point in drafting a wide receiver?
Yeah.
And we knew at that point we weren't going to draft one. We just knew we weren't.
Said it. Yeah.
We said it multiple times, Mike.
Yeah, when certain players came off that board, we were just like, that's it, they're done. They're out on wide receiver here. Forget it. Like, there would be 0 point right now in drafting a wide receiver because they're not better than these guys. Aren't better. They're not going to overtake Tolbert. They're not going to overtake Brooks. They're not going to overtake Turpin in their roles. So what would be the purpose? It's just a wasted pick. And so they've proven it.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, man. And then obviously, we started making post-draft actions by getting the likes of Pickens. So we've done a lot in this offseason. And I think this is the first time we've traded for a wide receiver since Amari, I believe.
It could be very well be. Yeah, you're probably right there.
Yeah. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on for sure. But yeah, folks, be sure, let us know what you think. Are you happy with the George Pickens trade? We would love to hear your thoughts on social media. Let us know in the comments here on YouTube. We would love to hear what you guys have to say wherever you are in the world. But yeah, man, I'm really happy, man. I'm a really like. Again, there is some reservations about the character ish, but I think what we've done with bringing like a Booker, the management of like bringing all the captains together, sitting together in the locker room, I think that's going to set a principle. And like Pickens, he's never had that environment where like he's going to have to be following the line and follow the leader.
Yeah.
So
you think Pickens has had guys like Antonio Brown. Do you know what I mean? And we know that dude is like out there. That's for sure. So, when you got like a guy like Brown as your mentor, you can kind of see it. The only that you say the negative of him is that is the character. Yeah, sure. The other negative aspect is that I just think the impact this has on the down roster, like the UDFA guys we brought in, because they've got potential. The guys like that they brought in, like Paris Campbell, you just think, what happens to you guys now? Because everything is literally taking a massive jolt down.
It's a massive kick to this wide receiver core. It's really shaking it up. Yeah. But yes, folks. But that is our reaction to the George Pickens trade. But again, be sure to go and follow us on social media at the World's Team on X, Instagram. Go and check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and be sure to go and check us out on the Believe Network as well. But yes, folks. But until next time, before I do that, but Mike, please tell everyone where everyone can find you as well.
You can find me on Twitter or X at kenfigkowboy, Kenfig with a K, Cowboy with a K. And you, Mr. B.
You can follow me at iampstew on X and Instagram. So, but yes, folks. But until the next time, as always here at the World's Team, it's not just America's team. It is the World's Team. See you guys next time.
That's a wrap on the World's Team Podcast. Smash that like button and hit subscribe, Cowboys Nation. This ain't just America's team, it's your team.
Touchdown!
It's the World's Team, only on Believe, where real fans live.
How about them Cowboys?